Hello Year 4, and for today's lesson we are going to have a look at the words and the phrases that the writer has used to convey meaning. So we're going to look at the picture from the Mauser cat of the storm. Okay, so you had a go at drawing one yesterday, so we're going to have a look at this, and we're going to look at the actual story and the words that the writer has used to describe the storm. Okay, so I'm going to put up the part of the writing on there, so we've got it all there. What I would like you to do, I'll read it through. So you need pen and paper, something to write down, note down. I'd like you just to copy down some of the words and phrases that they've used. So I'll read it through, then you can pause it and you can look at the screen and you can write down some of the words, some of the phrases that are describing the storm. Okay, so I'll just read it through first. Then one year there came a terrible winter. At the far end of England, the blue-green sea turned grey and black. The great storm cat is stirring, thought Mauser as she watched out her window. The wind whined like a wild thing about the high headlands. It came hunting the fishing boats in their hidden harbours. When the great storm cat is howling, thought Mauser, it is best to stay snug indoors by a friendly fire. The sea drew itself up into giant waves and flung itself against the great breakwaters. All along the coast of Cornwall the stone walls stood the shock. Then the sea sucked up its strength again and roared right over them, sinking the sailing boats in their home havens. But it could not get into the mouse hole. Mauser watched as the great storm cat clawed with his giant cat paws through the gap in the harbour wall. But it was too small. He snarled and leaped up at the great breakwater under the lowering sky. But it was too high. The fishing boats sat safe as mice in their own mouse hole, but they could not get out. So if you just pause that now, have a look, and then just make a note of all the words and the phrases that describe the storm. Okay, how has the author described the storm? So if you pause it there, then we'll come back and have a look together. Okay, so pause it now. Okay, so let's have a look how well you did. So I'm going to go through and try and highlight all the words and phrases. So the one year there came a terrible winter. Far green, the blue-green sea turned grey and black. So that's describing the colour of the sea during the storm. And he calls it a great storm cat. He's stirring, thought Mauser as she watched through her window. The wind whined like a wild thing. So the wind was whining like a wild thing. We can have that. It came hunting the fishing boat. So the wind is hunting. That's describing the wind, isn't it, in the storm? When the great storm cat it was howling, and Mauser thought it'd be best to stay indoors by the friendly fire. And then describing the sea drew itself up into giant waves. So that's describing what the waves were like during the storm. All along the coast of Cornwall, the stone wall stood the shock. Oh, and then the sea sucked up its strength. So you can imagine all the waves getting bigger, sucking up all the strength, all their might to try and cause damage. The sea sucked up all its strength and it roared right over them. It was sinking the sailboats, the sailing boats, but it couldn't, thankfully, get into the mouse hole. Mauser watched as the great storm cat So here the big storm cat is clawing with giant cat's paws, and that's like the picture, isn't it? You can see the waves, there's little claws on them, so it's like comparing the waves to a giant cat's paw. But it was too small. But here we go again. So it snarled and it leaped up. It was trying really hard to get through the big high walls of the harbour, the breakwater. But it was too high, and that meant that the fishing boats in Mousehole were safe in the harbour. But obviously they couldn't get out because the storm was too fierce. Okay, so hopefully you got some of those. You could see how the author was trying to describe the storm. What I would now like you to do is to have a look at your picture from yesterday. So hopefully you came up with some words and phrases to describe your picture. Ooh, what's going on there? And then use those. You can use some of these, and I just would like you to write a little paragraph describing the storm in your picture. Okay, so that will be it for today. So have a look at this, have a look at your picture, and see if you can write a paragraph just like what's in front of you here, with some of your words and your phrases describing your picture, describing the storm. Okay, obviously you can use these words here to help you, and some of the good words that you came up with yesterday. Okay, and I will look forward to seeing those paragraphs on Class Dojo. So take care for now, and I will speak to you all soon.